Don't use AI. Welcome to Talking Experience Analytics with a decent beer in a shed. And this is Tree Museum from Crooked Pecker Brewing up in Chagrin Falls, Ohio. It's leafy. Don't use AI. But Rich, haven't you just launched Uncrowd's own AI? Well, yeah, we have. What I should have said at the beginning is don't use AI for strategy or for operational performance and execution unless that AI is talking to the very best, most credible, human verified data. And there are lots of different ways that you can capture that kind of data, particularly in online retail. There are some awesome solutions to understanding how best to help customers spend more money, repeat more purchases with you, come to you more often using online tools, because online empirical data is relatively easy to capture. And there are some amazing companies doing that. The tricky bit has always been the bigger part of retail. The bigger part of retail is physical, always has been, and it always will be. Humans will always want to go to a thing to do a thing. That's just part of who we are. There's never going to be a solution to me picking up a beautiful piece of fruit in a grocery store and suddenly thinking, oh, do you know what? Actually, I want to make this with this and I want to do that with that. And I'm inspired by it. And it smells amazing. And it's reminded me of so much and it's deep. If we ever lose that, I promise you future generations will reinvent it because it's something that humans need. Well, the thing about humans is we are pretty difficult to understand and read in some ways because of the way that we effortlessly move through physical experiences. We take it for granted. It's like the old exercise of teaching a robot to make a cup of tea or teaching a toddler to describe how they make themselves a piece of bread and jam. It looks very simple to us, but actually when you start to break down those tasks, they become very complicated. You know, we take for granted that when you take that piece of bread out of the packet, you put it this way up, you put butter on it, you put strawberry jam, not raspberry because I'm not an animal, and you build up a piece of bread and jam, and it's very simple. But unless you specifically say, okay, this is how you undo the bag. This is where the bag belongs. This is how you remove a slice. This is how you judge whether that slice has mold on it or not in my house. This is how all those things we take for granted. And so teaching an AI to understand the vagaries of human experience in physical spaces is way harder than trying to understand human journey through online and digital tools. Until now. And I say until now because we didn't set out to do this. I would be lying if I said this was part of a grand plan. It just so happens that we're in the right place at exactly the right moment. Unless you have a data set that is based in ground truth. So ground truth is basically that a human has verified that that's real and it happened and it exists. And our methodology, because it's objective and empirical, I say our methodology, it's experience analytics. I wrote a book about it. You can buy the book, do it yourself. But the methodology ensures that each piece of data in that data set is verified, in our case, by multiple humans multiple times, because that's a security, a data confidence measure that we feel good about. You have a human verifying that thing existed, and then you can start to build layers on top of it, because that human isn't saying whether it was nice or nasty or whether it was good or bad and all those sorts of things. The second thing that we have is that our reward model, it's called the Uncrowd deep scoring model. It turns out that deep scoring model is a perfect human verified reward model to help an AI to understand the relationship numerically and valuely, that's not a real word, but you know, whatever, between things. And I'll give you an example. You've got a display of oranges that's full and a display of oranges that's empty. Now an AI doesn't know which of those is good or bad. It just knows those are two states that exist. You can very quickly teach it though, full display of oranges, good, empty display of oranges, bad. And then you layer on another layer, which is it's bad because, and you can start to use the because to help the AI to understand. But what about a display that is half full? Is that numerically half as bad as full or empty? Actually, no, it isn't. It's about 82% good. It's just, it misses that last 18%. It's half full, so the bottom's not visible. Customers can at least see that they can fulfill their mission to buy an orange. It's not as bad as an empty display, but it's not half as good as a full display. It's 82%. And how on earth did we get to that number? By taking the best research in existence and working on it for years, applying our heuristics, our rule set, applying something we call bracketing, which is where you synthetically look at the best examples of that particular element as they exist in reality. So in this case, the best grocers for full orange displays and the worst grocers for full orange displays. And you triangulate that against various measures so that you get to a point where you're able to say very confidently, that is 18% deficient, even though it is 50% empty. And we have done that in every single one of 1,351 separate observations in the grocery store. And so that reward model is able right now, instantly, to help the AI that you allow access to it to understand the numerical performance of different states of any given observation. And that is critical, because without that, an AI guesses. And an AI guesses based on what it's heard on Reddit, what it's read on various parts of the internet, and what it's sucked up from other sources. And it's vague, it's kind of related possibly. There are always, you know, somebody's talking about orange displays. Are they talking about a display that's orange, or are they talking about displays of oranges? Are they talking about a display of orange paint in a B&Q or a Lowe's? What a reward model like ours does, and a data set like ours, is be very specific. So it not only describes the relationship between things within that data set, but it also describes the value of each of those things in different states. Now, when you have that, that's when you let an AI loose on strategy, because you can use that to make all sorts of extraordinary reviews of what you do. How does my produce offer stack up against my 3 nearest competitors at a banner level? Now, what does that look like down in Des Moines, Iowa? What does that look like in South Des Moines? I think I'm saying Des Moines right. I'm just going to keep saying Des Moines, Des Moines, Des Moines, Des Moines. Anyway, so you can set it at any level within that granularity you want. And it's using real data to fetch those answers, not making guesses. Now, we have been punting our customers' needs through Uncrowd BIT now for a very short period of time, but have outputted dozens and dozens and dozens of high-level, incredibly valuable, crazy powerful outcomes. How many hallucinations have we found in there? A hallucination is where the AI is guessing and imagining stuff that doesn't really exist. How many? None. How many straightforward errors have we found where the AI has put two things together inaccurately? How many? None. This is game changing. This is conclusions that you can be confident are not only credible, but they stand scrutiny at the highest and in fact the lowest, most granular level. So don't use an AI for strategy unless you're doing so with real ground truth, human verification, and a reward model that understands what the heck it's actually telling the AI. Now that is winning.